Welcome to episode 2 of Year of the Fire Horse.
Welcome, welcome.
We're so happy to be here again.
So,
Now Kali is back to Bali,
yeah,
right? Kea?
Kali is back in Bali. Yes. So, unfortunately, we cannot record this in person together like we did in the first episode, but I think we're doing quite well.
We
And
are.
Kali is back with her dragon, as you can see. So, I'm very happy, and a lot has happened since the last recording, and we're just really excited to bring a whole bunch of new themes for you to explore. And I think it's building up very nicely on the last episode. So, Irene, what do we have in store today?
So today, other than the dragons, I love the Mother of Dragons vibe, by the way. Where are my dragons? If you guys
Mm.
can notice, she has multiple dragons on her on the background. And I'm still in Copenhagen. I'm happy that we're doing this even long distance because it's such a great pleasure to catch up. We both just spent a long weekend in temple spaces, working again with like shamanic sexuality and sex magic and goddesses, gods, archetypes to anchor in this vibration of I don't know, healing, sacred union, reconciliation of human and divine, sacred and profane, and bringing like opposites together in a way, which is super aligned with the astrology at the moment that we're going to speak more about from the perspective of the fire horse. We're going to discuss a bit more about the archetype, also in light of the Western astrology that's going on now. We are recording in a new moon again, and that keeps being the plan. Every new moon, you will find a new episode with these two fiery horse. Um, and now we're also, the Chinese New Year has started, this new power animal. We're riding already. And
Mm.
the Western astrological year is coming to an end. So we're in the last few days of Pisces season, starting Aries season soon with the spring equinox where nature comes back to life, where water melts into fire. So Pisces as a sign of like watery dreams and spiritual mysticism and mysteries. But Aries is almost the opposite. It's very fiery, very concrete, straightforward, to the point. So how can we flow between those two energies in a way that's soft and watery and dreamy, but also fiery and warrior-like and to the fucking point, get shit done. That's what we're here for.
That is exactly what we're here for. I love it. And yeah, the theme of my weekend was like how can we become the creators of our own lives and no longer be stuck in this consciousness of victimhood. And it was so strong and powerful, and exactly like as you said, using the tools of sexual energy and sexual alchemy, sex magic, to really get what we want. And it was so powerful, and so much has alchemized for me and like changed for me over this weekend, and I'm still integrating it. And yeah, I just really am excited to share a little bit about this work with you. But maybe since there might be people that don't know us yet, yeah, I'm Kea, and I live in Bali at the moment. And my mission in life is to empower women to follow their true potential. I'm an empowerment coach. I love emotional release. I love working with anger and sadness. And yeah, those are my specialties. And then my kink is yeah, working with sexual energy, connecting it to source and to spirit. And yeah, that's just a big passion of mine.
Thanks for sharing that, Kaya, because you're fucking great at it. So it's so beautiful to witness you in that and to share that with you and with the world. I'm really so honored. Uh,
Mm,
Again, we met as a temple, and it is our shared passion to take those collective shadows of humanity that we all grew up being a bit ashamed of, our sexual energy, our true, like, wild power, our
mm,
muchness, are also our human neediness sometimes because they're connected. We were speaking in the
mm-hmm,
last episode of how, and that's the conversation, I think the best deep conversation we had, like the first conversation we had was a deep conversation about how, like, what our sexual shadows are and how sometimes they can be like to get to use sexual energy to get attention and to get our needs met in an unconscious way, like being an attention whore. There's nothing wrong with that as long
mm,
as you're doing it consciously because it's fun, not because you need someone's validation. There's a subtle difference there. Sometimes it's not what you do, it is how. And for me, I love paying attention to that because as a holistic therapist and neurotic alchemist, I found that sexual energy is one of the most powerful healing tools or frameworks to work with because it's life force energy, right? And it leads us into our deepest shadow, but also our brightest light because it's the creator or creatrix potential, is creative life force. Um, so like this weekend here, I was organizing and co-facilitating this Sexploration Festival. We came up with a beautiful name, and we missed you so much here, Kea. Um, and we went very deep into the shadow, but also very high into the light. And both are necessary in a way for balance. Like at some point,
mm,
we had this BDSM temple that was all about deep dive into the dark. And I spent, I think, half an hour meditating, just that, just anchoring in light for the group. That's what was required.
mm.
Because when you go real deep, you need a lot of light to compensate, and vice versa. Many people are like,
Yeah.
open light only. Well, then they become imbalanced because they're missing shadow. And the people that are like,
Mm.
sex, drugs, and rock and roll, they miss the light and they can also become imbalanced. So it's like that ongoing balancing exercise. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, I definitely missed you at my temple as well. Um, or where I was assisting. I was not facilitating, I was assisting. And yeah, it was the same. We went so deep into the shadow, and even like corners of myself I didn't even know were there and wanted to be lived and wanted to be unleashed and break free. And that shadow energy, we just put it out into the light and explored it and expressed it with such force. It was so powerful, and that allowed us to then go really deep in the pleasure and to go really deep. Like once you feel the pain of rejection, of abandonment, of not feeling chosen, of not feeling worthy of love or worthy in general, like you need to go through. I needed to go through the pain and be able to like feel the pleasure in like experiencing that pain afterwards, and like turning that pain into pleasure and connecting it. Where does it come from? Where's the shadow coming from? Where's this pain coming from? Like I've experienced moments of jealousy like in this temple but also previously, and then I traced it back to feelings of like unworthiness of love, and also sometimes my avoidant tendencies, that I experienced in relationships were like, ah, it's because I feel unworthy. And now that I'm kind of like aware of the root of where is this coming from, I could like start to create a sense of, well, I am worthy of love. I could start to to really turn that pain through sex magic. Actually, we turned it into pleasure, and it was so powerful. And like at the end of the day, it's like a perspective shift. Like so much has shifted for me. During that retreat, I was already seeing differences in my behavior and how I show up and how the shadow came into the light, into my consciousness, that I'm able to now say when that voice comes up, my higher self can be like, actually, this voice that's telling me I'm unworthy, maybe shut up for now. Like you're not needed here. And so for me, it was a really powerful tool. And I'm really curious how that's gonna unfold. Um, yeah, in the weeks, months, years to come. It was so powerful. Wow.
Thanks for sharing that, Kay. Really excited to
Mm,
see that as well. Because, yeah, when you do the sex magic, and we did quite a lot of it here as well, is one of the most powerful ways to get upgrades, to integrate the shadow, and to manifest, to quantum leap. And then
truly.
things start unfolding in your physical reality that you're like surprised, very pleasantly surprised. But yeah, sometimes to get to the pleasure,
Abs
you have to go through the pain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think so. And like for me also, and that's something that has really come up for me in the first like yeah, the first beginning of the year of the horse is like this kind of sense of wow, I was shedding so much of my old identity, of old patterns, of old belief systems and structures. And then there I was, you know, at the shift of the fire horse, and I felt so much excitement and so much like, okay, now I'm going to construct, now I'm going to become a new person. But then I found myself kind of in this in this void of like, well, who am I right now? I've shedded so much, but I haven't constructed what I want to construct yet. So I was really experiencing a lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear of the future. Kind of, I felt almost like frozen because I was like, I don't know. I just know what I was shedding, and I kind of know where I want to go, but how do I get there? Is that still the right thing for me to do? So that was really like, or that is really a challenge for me still. Like, who is this new person that I'm becoming? Just because I was shedding a lot doesn't mean all of a sudden I know like who this new person is. And like, I already know, like, I haven't grown up into this new like being that I know I'm going to become this year. So I've been experiencing a lot of, yeah, insecurities and fear. And like through that, like kind of feeling frozen around things that I had planned for this year that I wanted to become, that I wanted to turn into reality. And actually, surprisingly, the fire horse has not really carried me forward that much because of, I think, unless the horse knows exactly where it's going, yeah, it was kind of a bit like it didn't have a clear direction. So it's just kind of stuck. So that's kind of where I was finding myself. And I found that quite surprisingly a big struggle for myself in the past months.
Hmm. Thanks for sharing that,
How
love.
have yeah, how have you experienced the first like I don't
Month.
know, month and a half? Yeah.
Yeah. For me, because I did have a clear direction, I experienced it as very rapid shifts. The challenges for me were a bit different. So for me, it was mostly about now that I have really set myself on fire because I have worked, through the phases of the alchemy. And the last phase of alchemy is when they call it rubedo, is when you're really completely ablaze with fire shining. For me, the challenge there is to receive other people's jealousy and projections and envy and criticism and praise as
Mm,
well, and be equanimous about it, because when you shine a lot, you're gonna attract a lot of people, but you're also gonna trigger a lot of people. And
mm.
I'm really grateful that you mentioned now that you felt jealousy in you and you worked it inside of yourself, because you know jealousy comes from a lack of self-love, of self-worth, from self-esteem issues.
Mm,
Because jealousy is when you see someone has something that you like, and instead of saying, "Oh, I can have it too," you're like, "The fact that they have it means that I cannot have it," which is a lie,
mm,
because you can also interpret it the
yeah.
other way, uh, as evidence that someone has it, someone has made it, means that I can also have it and make it. I like to say it that way. But yeah, for me this weekend, because of all the shifts in my life that took me to more power, more leadership, more visibility, um, a new relationship, sacred union again, uh, stepping into like my first temple space with a partner where we can truly shine together as well. And yeah, that made me feel insecure actually. Like it made me feel nervous. Like, what are gonna people think about? What are people gonna think about me? Are they think I am too much? Are they think I am showing off? That I am too flashy? That I am too ambitious? And I know I carry those judgments. So, for instance, there I was teaching this workshop on shadow work, like sexual shadow work. And many people, or most people, I would say, are at least with some parts of their sexuality uncomfortable. Like it's rare someone who's like fully enlightened and perfectly comfortable with their full primal raw expression in their sexuality and their power. Um,
Mm,
So for me, it was like seeing the shadow, especially of female competition. Like when I show up in open
mm,
power, some women stop being friendly to me. They start being cold and distant, and that hurts me because
mm,
I consider them my
mm,
friends. And
mm-hmm.
I know it comes, in my case, I know it comes from my mother wound that I carry from my childhood, but also my family lineage. Uh, that sort of growing up made me feel like if I am happy, my mother is not happy. I need to sort of abandon myself to make other people happy. And their happiness is more important than my happiness. And it's a survival mechanism for children because, like, you want your parents to be able to take care of you, otherwise, you could die, right? So
Sure.
it's like, of course, I want my mommy and my daddy to be happy. And if that means I need to change who I am or hide parts of who I am in order to be accepted and for them to be happy so that they can take care of me, so that I can survive, I do that. Many people go through that. And for me, it was like, seriously, like mommy issues again, again. But yeah, every iteration is like the spiral keeps rolling around, and every iteration is a bit deeper and more subtle and easier. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen in my next space. On Thursday, I have another temple already. So let's see what happens with that shadow
Not wasting any time. Excellent.
galloping on the fire horse. Oh yes, and final thing about what you said about feeling frozen. So one thing that we can really take away from this new moon in Pisces, that's this like watery, dreamy archetype, is Pisces
Mm,
is super cool with uncertainty.
mm-hmm.
Because normally like fire is very direction focused, is young energy. I want to go somewhere, get it done. But water is like, no, just flow, no outcome, no whatever. It's just a dream.
Mm.
Let's enjoy the ride. So yeah, maybe your horse just needed a pit stop to get some water. And the fire horses need to drink water as well. Stay hydrated.
Absolutely. Yeah, ab absolutely. And yeah, what came up, I mean, mommy issues, I definitely trace my sense of like this unworthiness of love. I trace it back to when my parents got divorced when I was 6, and at that age, I don't really consciously remember it, but I think like now in retrospect, I felt responsible for it, and I felt responsible that I couldn't save them. And I felt responsible that my brother was like extremely sad about it. And I felt like I had to be the strong one in this moment. And yeah, I think that's kind of where it's coming from. It's like, oh, if I can't even protect like my brother from this heartbreak, and it's like my fault my parents are getting divorced, it must be my fault, surely. Like, why else? Maybe it's because I didn't clean up my room, they start fighting, and then they separate and they stop loving each other. And I think also like I didn't have like a proper role model when it came to love at all. There was just no love between my parents when they were still together, and clearly no love when they were separated. So yeah, I think it's tracing it back to childhood, young childhood as well. And yeah, it's super fascinating. I love working on it, and I love like tracing it back to certain moments and then realizing, okay, wow, this is a super powerful realization, and I can now, with that knowledge, step forward and change my behavior, or at least try and change it because the patterns are so deep. That yeah, it needs some powerful medicine to break those patterns. And yeah, so I feel you. I see you in that. Um, I see you in that. And you also mentioned the topic of like abandonment, and that's come up for me quite strongly. The topic of self-abandonment in like yeah, trying to become who I want to be, and in that and in that like struggle or in that endeavor, um, is there a chance of losing myself? Because I have like this deep longing, for example, I have a deep longing for love and to be loved. And is there then like a tendency to maybe lose myself in the other person and people please the other person? So I'm really conscious of that at the moment, as I'm also navigating a relationship. Yeah, I'm very conscious of that, and I think that's something that is a big theme, especially for women. Like, are we prone or are we more likely to self-abandon ourselves for the sake of someone else, for our partner? And I think that's something that I feel really strongly about, and I really want to help women recognize patterns or recognize like, are they
Mm.
acting out of a desire to really do something or be someone? Or is it the people pleasing? Is it the shadow? Is it coming from a shadow? Am I doing it for the other person? Because I think otherwise they might leave me or they might stop loving me or whatever. And finding that balance of finding that the root or the source of why am I doing something is just so important. And I it's like such a big desire of mine to help women like find out, why am I actually doing it? Is it for myself because I really want to do it and I feel juicy and I feel excited about it? Or is it because I feel otherwise I will be abandoned or I will be rejected, or it's because I feel unworthy, so I have to follow someone else? And that is just feels so juicy to speak it out loud. Mm.
Yeah, just saying it out loud takes off so much pressure. Sharing it with your friends, sharing it with your partners or potential partners. I've had a few moments like that with my new partner where we've been on this path for years. He's even been doing it longer than I have. And still, the childhood insecurities come up sometimes. But yeah, when you're able to name it, like you were saying, you just name it, you see it. It's unavoidable that it will change. Sometimes it can take a bit longer.
Mm,
Um, but the first step is the most important and the hardest one, I would say, in that regard.
mm,
So like being able
mm,
to see it for yourself and to share it with someone you trust. And again, it can be a friend, your partner, or a therapist. Kay is a coach. I'm a therapist and a coach. And we're really passionate about helping people. I help men and women with this. Providing a safe space where you know that your triggers are seen and heard and also celebrated, because at the other side of them, there's
mhm,
There's power when you dare to tell someone, hey, I feel vulnerable right now because I don't know, like for instance, you and I, that one time that I felt a bit abandoned by you. And I told you, like, hey, I'm really happy that you're enjoying your relationship, but I wanted to prioritize like our friendship and our collaboration a bit
Mm,
more. And it feels really vulnerable to tell someone that, like, what you did, I didn't like your behavior. It didn't make me feel good. But
mm,
it's telling you because I care about you enough
mm,
to show you the whole of me so that we can have an authentic, real
mm,
relationship. And also, like, allow myself to receive love for the parts of myself that I believe are hard to love, like the anger or the sadness or the neediness.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so you're giving yourself and the other person a chance to grow separately and together. And for me, like the self-abandonment used to be an issue in the past. Now, every time it shows up, because I've done so much work around it, it feels like, okay, there's a beautiful part in me that has like responsive desire, which is very common for women. So gets pleasure from pleasing others. But it's like, okay, is pleasing this other person giving me pleasure? Not just
mm,
for validation, but like real pleasure. Like, can I validate myself? And then once I do that, do I still want to please this person? Will this give me like real pleasure? And also forgive yourself if you
mm,
fuck it up along the way and you know, overstep your own boundaries or forget your best judgment occasionally. That happened to me like this weekend. It was very tiny things, but I don't know. I put a bottle of coconut oil for the massage workshop I was teaching, and someone takes it without permission. And I know that is because energetically I have a leaky boundary.
mm,
Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. I wouldn't even attract or create that situation energetically. And so
mm,
I go to them and I say, hey, that oil bottle is mine, is personal. It was not here for sharing. You have a table with dedicated items for that.
mm,
So can you please give it back? And forgive myself because I didn't express it right away, because I still feel angry when someone touches my stuff, because I still get insecure when I feel that others could judge me, when I feel I am behaving like a bitch because I'm just speaking my mind out and setting boundaries. And that's the antidote to like this conditioning that women very often get. I think we were saying it the last time that for us
mm,
women, we were taught or raised in a way that normally when we feel, I don't know, I'm not sure, we say yes. It's like, yeah, sure,
mm,
fine. Whereas
mhm,
tended to be conditioned in a way that when they are unsure, they're like, no, no, no fucking way. So we are polarized in that way. It's a tendency, right? Not everyone has to agree with this, but it comes with gender archetypes in society in general. And it's like, okay, how can I find like a middle way? If I have a tendency to say yes easier than no or no easier than yes, how can I practice the opposite to find a new balance? And it's a new way of being, like you were saying, when the old operative system collapses because you know it was obsolete, but you're still downloading the new operative system.
yeah,
You may need
yeah,
some time in between.
yeah, definitely. And like this morning, as we were doing the cleanup for the temple, and one of my friends who has known me since I moved to Bali about a year ago was saying to me, like kind of on the way out, he was like, "Oh yeah, you changed, but now you changed back."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Hmm." And it didn't, I mean, I was like, "Oh, it didn't hurt, like sting that much," but it was like still now it's been in the back of my mind ever since, and I'm just like, that's why I was also reflecting so much about the struggle of, shedding a lot in the year of the snake, but not really, I haven't really arrived at this, new version or this upgrade of myself. So then there was a tendency to slip back into old patterns, and kind of showing the world still the performance or the mask of that old version of myself, because that's easy. That's safe. I know how to do that. And there are still things that I want to shed. So I think there is also that, or there's still things I want to integrate about my shadows. Um, Especially around the theme of anger, and that kind of shows up in a specific way, and also this unworthiness of love and attention, which makes me put on a mask and makes me put on like a performer to keep people at bay. Um, so yeah, those masks came back this weekend, and those masks have come back. I mean, apparently recently, because you said you changed and now you changed back. So I'm really working on that theme of how can I remain authentic to myself and rise up to this new upgraded version. And I find it a real struggle. So that's why I also really wanted to speak about this today, because I also see on like social media, everyone's like, yay, now we're finished with the year of the snake. Everything's gone, the old is gone. And now, yay, fire horse, everything's, there's going to be so much energy. And I was the same. And then I found myself struggling, surprisingly, and falling back into the old version of myself. So I I just wanted to bring this up, and to everyone who is struggling with the same, just be like, yep, I see you. I hear you. I'm the same. And it's not so easy just to say, okay, now it's the year of the horse, and now, okay, here we go. I'm riding it easily. I'm really struggling. And yeah, I loved your analogy about the horse needing some water. I really love that, and I'm looking forward to this astrological shift, because out of the two of us, you are definitely the expert on that one, and I wasn't even aware of what's coming now. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a good shift for me, um, to also allow myself. I mean, I also judged myself so much for, oh my God, now I've wasted 1 month of the horse energy. And I was so excited about this energy. And now it feels like, wow, now I only have 11 months of this new fiery energy, and I've wasted 1 month. So there was a lot of judgment for myself around this as well. Um, yeah, so that's also an invitation to look at like old conditioning of like work ethic, and you know, I just had different priorities, and that's also perfectly valid. And yeah, the horse needed a break. Perfectly valid. But yeah, I see you and I hear you, and everyone who's also struggling. It's no shame in it. Perfectly valid to have a slow start.
And maybe it's not even a slow start because I like to challenge your concept of having wasted 1 month when you were
Mm,
here in Copenhagen, you enjoyed a new, very intense, sexy relationship. You made a lot of new connections. We built together. And then you went back to Bali to help organize a fucking temple retreat that was like 3, 4 days long.
yeah, 4 days. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that also shows how skewed my reality can be, because I was like, I didn't do anything. And so, yeah, it's great to have that mirrored back at me, to challenge my inner critic, who can be very prominent sometimes. And and I again think many, many, many women will be able to relate to that, right? Um, Yeah, it's so easy for me to also see the accomplishments of others, the small accomplishments of others. And then when I see what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, but this is just normal. This is just how I function. This is just, what I do. And it's not normal. There are so many things that, like, beautiful, amazing things that happen and that I created. I created. And that's yeah, thank you for that reminder. So also the invitation, everyone, get yourself a friend like Irene to
or
remind you every
hire,
now and then.
hire me as the coach.
Even
That's also
better.
an option.
Even
Or
better.
both, both. Um,
Yeah, even yeah, no, I wanna speak to that actually about the coach because like it's so helpful to break out of this pattern, like this thought pattern that we don't even see ourselves. I don't even see it myself. Um, and I think there's so much value in like having someone that you don't know so well or personally like mirror this back at you as well and like really give you tools. Otherwise, I mean, I worked with a coach before I quit my job, and I think if I had worked with that person before, I could have saved so much time. And it was like one of the best investments of my life. And like, I just usually when I hire a coach, I just don't look back. Like, everything just accelerates. And there's so much value in it. And I think, especially around the theme of sexual energy to like manifest the life of your dreams and the life that you want and create the life that you want is such an underused tool. Like now that I'm in these spaces and I know what's possible and the power and how I feel, I'm like, wow, I wish I had known this before. And I wish I had someone like you by my side to show me these tools and techniques and how much power there is. And like we were, for example, during this weekend saying, someone was saying, wow, I had an experience that was comparable to when I did ayahuasca. It was after existential kink exercise. And then our facilitator was like, well, I'm not surprised that you say that because like sexual energy is more powerful than, because it's coming from ourselves. You don't need anything external. You can awaken that inside of yourself. So
yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, I wish I had known this before. And I think you are just such an amazing person and coach to really take people to those spaces and take them to spaces where maybe they have been once with ayahuasca and be able to see you don't need that. You can just alchemize it in your own body. And that's just so amazing.
And your own DMT if you rise up the Kundalini to the third eye. Yeah, thanks for saying
Mm-hmm.
that. We are that, right? Because whatever you see in me is also you.
Mm.
Yeah, also thank you for being such a beautiful mirror for me. And yeah, work with sacred sexuality for me is the most potent healing tool, more than ayahuasca. And I lived in Brazil for fucking 4 years doing ayahuasca like every month, twice per month, because I needed so much support in the journey. But then, like you're saying, I found out, oh, like sexual energy and eros can also be like psychedelic and mind altering. And this weekend at the BDSM temple, when I spent half an hour seated in meditation, because spirit put me there to elevate and alchemize the collective energy, because people were fucking all around, like spanking each other, behaving like wild animals. It was super primal. And I don't know how many we were, 30 or 50 people in a room, going really wild, really deep. Um, there was so much energy that at some point I was like, okay, I'm feeling super high. I need to anchor and ground this for myself and also can be useful for the group. And really take all that first chakra stuff up to source, up to the third eye, up to the crown, and then back and circulate that. And then you get even higher and higher and higher.
Mm.
Um, at the end of the night, I also needed support from my partner because it was a lot of energy. And yeah, it gives you great power, but it's also great responsibility to yourself and to the collective as well. So we want to evolve, we want more, we want to grow, but also pace ourselves. Because have you ever done horseback riding with actual
I
horses?
have, yeah.
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 So
Not a lot, but a little bit, yeah.
yeah. For me, like I grew up, my best friend in childhood had a horse, and then I loved horses because I am a horse in Chinese zodiac.
Mm,
And as long as you are going slow, it's super easy and chill. But the moment you start trotting and then galloping, it's physically intense for the rider as well. So it's not only that the horse
mm,
needs water, it's the rider also needs a break every now and then because it's physically intense and
yeah.
demanding.
Mm. Oh, thank you for that analogy as well. Yeah, that's very true. So I think allowing ourselves a break as well. Ooh, it's definitely allowing myself a rest is definitely something I struggle with. Definitely. And I prioritize, and I know this is conditioning from my parents, from my dad especially. It's like work is the number one priority. It defines success in life. It defines like if in doubt, work is the most important thing to do over everything else, over family, over friends, over love, over whatever. So yeah, I have broken free from that, but it took me like, yeah, almost 40 years to do that. And I'm really proud of it. But yeah, I slipped back into that old conditioning for sure. And it's really a struggle to get out of it every now and then. And for that, like I mean, meditation is fantastic and just creating awareness is amazing. But to really change it, I think the power of sexual energy is a really powerful tool to change it and not just be aware of it. Just be aware of it, okay, but actually changing it in like a forceful way that doesn't take 5 years, then the sexual energy, like working with that is just ah, so
We
good. So
totally
good.
assure that. And so much pleasure when you throw an orgasm into the healing. You
Yeah,
do it.
I like priming my brain through that.
Exactly.
Yeah, or
Exactly.
reprogramming my brain. That's the fun. That's the fun of it. And um it
Like,
actually works. That's the thing. Like I'm very new to this whole world. Like I would say before Ubud, like yes, I went to temples and I was in sacred sexuality spaces, but not really in the sexual alchemy or more like darker arts, let's say, spaces. And I I was in my kind of logical mind. I'm like, okay, I can give it a go. In the worst case, I'm just gonna have an orgasm. Could be worse. Um, but this actually works. And I was so skeptical and I was, yeah, I was not believing it, but also not fully believing it, and it really works. I'm just like, okay, more of it, please. And I felt so like high yesterday when we did a collective sex magic ritual, and we were like, everyone was individually
mhm.
manifesting whatever they want to manifest in their dream life, and yeah, then the group supported each individual in their dream. And it was so powerful. And I felt like I had just taken a bunch of drugs and just got a dopamine hit like so hard. It was just amazing. So
The
amazing.
oxytocin. We could talk the neurobiology, but let's leave material also for our next episode. Uh, yeah, because we've been speaking, I think, for more than 40 minutes now. And time flies when you're having fun. And I know I could speak with
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's also the invitation. Like, I know you have a lot of material about yeah, like sex magic and helping I mean, A, activate the sexual energy, but then also directing it to create whatever you want to create. So definitely an invitation to everyone to go check that out and try it at home at least once. Like, don't just masturbate for the sake of masturbating, but actually put an intention to it and see what happens. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. It brings like then like kind of my soul has an orgasm as well because my soul was like, okay, yeah, that feels amazing. Yeah, let's create this dream life. Let's create a new frequency. Let's do it. And then the body pleasure comes into it and that reprograms the mind. And it's just amazing.
Yes, it does. It helps a lot with building new neural pathways, new pathways
Hmm.
embodied in the body and the nervous system and the mind. Yeah. Connected with spirit. So,
Mm.
oh my God, thank you for that. Yeah, I have a website coming up, but anyhow, for now, the link can be found in my social media for my newsletter. When you sign up, you get guided practice for erotic alchemy activation in video and
Hmm.
also like a PDF that helps you discover what are actually your fantasies and your turn-ons. So you guys are all invited for that. And as always, we would love to hear more about your shadows and your fantasies and your stories, your struggles, because we are here to support each other. And when we share the shadow and the light, it becomes easier
Hmm.
and much more fun. So we read you in comments. You can reach out to us on social media, commenting whatever platform you're reading this. We will be super happy to connect. And yeah, we'll have our next episode in the next new moon, which is gonna be Aries. So that's gonna be interesting to see the shift back into action.
Wow. I'm looking forward to this next cycle. I'm very excited for all the learnings and triggers and whatever else will come up. And yeah, yeah, no, we will not be together in Europe yet next month, but hopefully maybe the month after, let's see. But soon we will be back in the same space as well.
And you guys, Chaos in Bali, I am in Thailand at the moment, but we're pretty mobile. We're gonna be in Europe. So also if at any point you wanna call us in for retreats, festivals, do that. We are super open to connect and super devoted to this path. And we look forward to hearing more from you and connecting more in our next episodes. Thank you so much, Kea.
Thank you and see you soon, everyone.
Yes. Sending you all much love.